What if your grandma's favorite soap opera was secretly and fabulously gay? Hi there, I'm Chris with a K, and welcome back to This Week in Queer History, where we celebrate queer moments and icons that I wish I had known about as a young gay kid growing up in conservative America. Today, we're decoding the secret queer messages hidden inside classic American soap operas. The subtle glances, the coded language, and the characters who were just roommates. Sure they were. They were fooling no one. Well, maybe they were fooling some people. Let's get into it.
This week in queer history, stories told with love and glee.
Soap operas have always loved the drama of secrets. Secret babies, secret affairs, secret twins, and for decades, secret queerness. Long before networks allowed openly gay characters to step into the light, soap operas slipped in coded storylines that only queer viewers would recognize. And these weren't accidents, they were survival tactics. So let's rewind to the earliest days of the American soap operas in the 1950s and the 60s, when network standards were strict. We're talking Handmaid's Tale strict. Back then, homosexuality wasn't just discouraged on TV, it was outright forbidden. But even in those icy conditions, a few brave writers snuck characters who weren't actually out, but they had the unmistakable flavor of queerness. On Love of Life, soap opera historians now think that the bachelor lawyer Evans Baker, who mysteriously never pursued women, might have been coded as gay. His writers, John Pickard and Frank Provo, were gay men themselves, so we can see that they may have been sneaking in representation under the censor's watch. Sadly, the footage from this era is mostly lost, so we're left reading tea leaves and fan recollections. But in the soap opera Another World, we have receipts. In the mid-1970s, head writer Harding LeMay revealed that he intended the young character, Michael Randolph, to be gay. He even told the actor to subtly play the character that way. And the executives, they panicked, and they forced a girlfriend into the storyline. And then they married off Michael to a woman before they finally shipped him out of town. Straight washing, 1 point. Queer visibility, 0. By the late 1970s, though, things started bubbling up all over. Queerness was sneaking in. In 1977, The Young and the Restless aired one of the first lesbian-coded storylines in daytime history, with Katherine Chancellor and Joanne Curtis. These two women lived together, cared for each other, and shared the kind of quiet intimacy that's usually reserved for romantic leads. The story's pinnacle was when Joanne asked Katherine, "Are you a lesbian?" And she effectively said yes. Audiences freaked out. Waves of conservative backlash. The writers pulled the storyline just a few short weeks later, and the old storyline switcheroo. They were now just roommates. Right. And denial is a river in Egypt. Ugh, sorry, daddy joke. That same year in 1977, Days of Our Lives pushed even further with Sharon Duvall, who confessed romantic love to Julie Olsen Williams. Julie rejected her with disgust, reflecting the conservative attitudes of the time. And Sharon, she attempted suicide. The story was truly tragic, but it was also a milestone. The first open declaration of same-sex love on a U.S. soap. And then later, two other characters, Marlena Evans and Laura Horton, had one of daytime TV's earliest non-judgmental conversations about homosexuality. Seeds planted began to sprout. Then there was the art of subtext, the wink, the nudge, the "oh honey, we all know." And nowhere was this stronger than the more than friends trope that was used over and over. So, let's talk queer-coded soulmates. Luke and Robert from General Hospital. In the early 1980s, they were ostensibly straight adventurers, but the emotional intimacy that they shared rivaled most romantic couples. They saved each other's lives constantly, they held each other in moments of relief, and they traded banter like an old married couple. Fans still say that Luke and Robert had more chemistry than half the straight romances on the TV. And if you think about it, they kind of did. And this wasn't an accident. The actors, they leaned into their characters' relationship, creating a bond so deep that it felt just shy of a love story. Then, in 1982, All My Children made a bold, intentional move by introducing Dr. Lynn Carson, an openly lesbian therapist, and she helped a character named Devon question her own sexuality, gently steering her towards self-awareness rather than shame. And this storyline was month-long, it openly used the word lesbian, and it portrayed Lynn with dignity and compassion. It wasn't perfect, but it definitely broke barriers. Next came As the World Turns, which introduced Hank Elliott in 1988, daytime's first openly gay male character. His partner, Charles, was said to have died of AIDS, a storyline CBS almost extended by giving Hank an HIV diagnosis as well, before ultimately deciding it was too controversial. Even so, the show won a GLAAD Media Award for bringing queer life into the living rooms of millions. Meanwhile, One Life to Live stepped boldly into the 1990s by casting teenage Ryan Felipe as Billy Douglas, who came out on daytime TV in 1992, becoming the first gay teen in soap history. His story tackled homophobia, rumors, bullying, and family rejection head-on. In one especially powerful moment, part of the AIDS memorial quilt appeared on screen. It was a quiet but enormous statement during the height of the epidemic. Billy even got a boyfriend and a kiss on daytime TV. And this was 1992. And if I had only seen that kiss, I can only imagine it, but I can also imagine another closeted teenager watching that after school and feeling like they weren't alone. Even shows that didn't highlight queer romances introduced characters whose truth appeared in the storylines. In 1997, General Hospital quietly revealed that Mr. Murdy, Liz Weber's teacher, was gay. How did they do it? Liz walked in on him with his partner being a little too intimate. It was subtle, but it was there. Even a whisper can be a revolution. And then there's a wild twist from Santa Barbara. The revelation that Channing Capwell Jr., a long-dead character, had been bisexual and secretly in love with another man. His bisexuality became a motive in a murder mystery plot. Messy? Yes. Groundbreaking? Also yes. Across all these shows, a pattern appears. LGBTQ characters and themes existed, but maybe at the edges. Coded, restricted, a little straight-washed. They were allowed to be present. Not too present. Visible, but not too visible. Show love, but never too proudly. But still, those tiny openings in the storylines created enough space for future stories to walk through. By the 2000s, soaps finally allowed openly queer characters to be main character leads, like Bianca Montgomery on All My Children, who not only came out, but also got to fall in love, have a child, and live without apology. And those moments didn't appear out of nowhere. They were built on decades of work. I can still remember jumping off the elementary school bus in my oversized hand-me-down clothes and running into my cousin's house like it was the end of a race. Their oh-so-cold, over-air-conditioned house would be so quiet, and then the TV would start to blast. Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, days of our lives. Yes. One up for Bo and Hope. May they live and love forever. My cousin Jamie and I would flop down on the carpet and watch these way too beautiful adults under such dramatic lighting, making even more dramatic choices. And they were in exotic locations all the time, deserted islands. I mean, come on. And everyone in that living room treated that show with such reverence. My cousins were glued to the screen like it held the meaning of life. And meanwhile, I was sitting there thinking, okay, but how long until we can go out and jump on the trampoline? Yeah, I really didn't understand the appeal, the love triangles and the mistaken identities and all of the betrayals that blew up or ended in forgiveness. It felt like a foreign language that everyone else understood except for me. But, you know, I wanted to seem cool, so I would try to decipher the characters and what they were doing, holding their breaths and the lingering looks and... But now, years later, when I look back, I can see a little bit of what I missed. Those soap operas were escape hatches for my cousins. They were portals to bigger feelings and bigger worlds, and they were there for people who needed them. And if these storylines helped my straight cousins dream bigger, why wouldn't that fantasy also be something that queer people would long for? And that's what I find so interesting when I look at queer representation in soap operas. For decades, gay people had to sneak in sideways through the best friend who never marries or the devoted roommate. And two men with so much chemistry, there had to be something more. The unspoken turned truth into a plot twist. And fans, especially queer fans, became experts in reading between the lines. I think about this a lot. Especially just recently when we were visiting my husband's family back east, and his niece looked up at me during a family game night and asked why he and I lived together. And there wasn't a drop of hesitation or hate, just curiosity. I smiled, and my husband, without missing a beat, answered, "Because he's my husband. We're married." And just like that, she went back to playing. No drama, no cliffhanger. When we speak the truth plainly, it loses the power to scare people. We disarm the shame and we keep the plot moving. Looking back at these soaps now, I feel grateful for the brave breadcrumbs that queer people left for each other in eras where they couldn't say it out loud. They survived in the unspoken, and now we get to live boldly. And every time that we choose honesty without apology, we keep writing the next chapter. Less secret, more free. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment. What hidden moments did you spot in your favorite soap operas growing up? And you can get even more LGBTQ history by checking out this video popping up right over here. And you can visit myqueerbirthday.com to find other events and icons that happen on your birthday. Link is down in the description below. Until next time, stay strong, stay bold, and keep making history.